Tonight, the new intimate details police are revealing as they issue an arrest warrant for the billionaire owner of the New England Patriots, now officially charged with soliciting prostitution. And prosecutors in Florida take aim at a larger problem in society.
It's about time the country has a real conversation about human trafficking, which is modern-day slavery in our midst.
An urgent search in Texas. Why did a massive 767 suddenly fall out of the sky, plunging 6,000 feet in just 10 seconds, killing everyone on board? Our team is with investigators diving for those black boxes, critical clues to those terrifying final moments. President Trump on his way to that second summit with Kim Jong-un, and Lester is there. His report on the ground from the site of the high-stakes nuclear showdown. Jon Stewart on Capitol Hill slamming lawmakers over potential benefit cuts for 9/11 victims. Their fund running out of money.
This has to stop. They're not pawns. They're not people to be played with.
And the moment you didn't see on TV that has so many people cheering, a beloved actress delivering a powerful message simply by standing strong.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Savannah Guthrie in for Lester. And tonight, the billionaire owner of the New England Patriots is officially charged in connection with 2 visits to a massage parlor in Florida where authorities say he paid women for sex acts. Prosecutors are revealing lurid new details about the case, including the timing of one of the alleged incidents on the very morning of the Patriots' AFC Championship game. And beyond Robert Kraft's high-profile case, Florida investigators made clear today they are trying to crack down on a larger, disturbingly widespread problem of human sex trafficking. NBC's Carrie Sanders leads us off.
New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft at the airport in Boston today, joined by Tom Brady. Kraft returning from Los Angeles after being spotted by TMZ Sports at a pre-Oscars party. Meantime, in Florida, an arrest warrant was issued for the 77-year-old, charging Kraft with 2 counts of soliciting another to commit prostitution. If convicted, the billionaire, along with 24 others who were part of this takedown, could be sentenced to a year in jail. Today, officials releasing graphic details of Kraft's alleged sexual encounters at the massage parlor, one on the same day as the AFC Championship. On Friday, a spokesman for Kraft said, "We categorically deny that Mr. Kraft engaged in any illegal activity." Today, the NFL released a new statement promising to handle this allegation in the same way we would handle any issue under the league's personal conduct policy.
Are the clients unwittingly supporting the possibility of human trafficking?
The alleged Johns are enabling this criminal conduct to occur of human trafficking. They are fueling it with their dollars. This is not about lonely old men or victimless crimes. This is about enabling a network of criminals to traffic women into our country for forced labor and sex.
Prosecutors confident in their case that they say has disturbing video evidence highlighting a serious problem. Carrie Sanders, NBC News, Palm Beach County, Florida.
This is Gabe Gutierrez in Atlanta, considered one of the top cities for human trafficking in the U.S.
But it's a very devastating situation. It's things that you have flashbacks about.
Cecilia Roberts came to the U.S. from Sierra Leone when she was 11 years old and was homeless as a teenager. She says she met a couple when she was just 17 who used online ads to sell her for sex.
The most hardest part about it is being manipulated and being hopeless, like having nowhere to turn to, nowhere to go.
In the last decade, more than 49,000 cases of human trafficking have been reported to the National Hotline. It gets an average of 150 calls a day. Sex trafficking can occur in illicit massage or spa businesses, similar to the ones in the Florida case, but those aren't the only places.
It's happening at our local motels and high-end hotels here in Atlanta. It's happening a lot online, and kids are solicited online and then brought to someone's home or hotel room.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry that is drawing increasing attention from the FBI, which has cracked down through sting operations across the country.
The worst part of being trafficked is your trauma.
Cecilia Roberts says her life changed when she was arrested by an undercover cop. She now hopes her story shows others they're not alone. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, Atlanta.
Tonight, the NTSB is trying to figure out what caused a massive Boeing 767 cargo plane flying for Amazon to drop out of the sky in Texas, killing the crew on board. Investigators are now doing a painstaking search underwater, looking for those critical black boxes. And NBC's Tom Costello is with them.
Using airboats and cadaver dogs, the urgent search for clues and one more victim still missing from Atlas Air Flight 3591. Swallowed up by the marshy blackness of Trinity Bay. We join the search with the NTSB chief and Sheriff Brian Hawthorne. Pieces of the plane, large and small, bobbing in the water.
We think somewhere in this area, right in here, is where it went in.
It looks like it's splintered into a million pieces.
I guarantee, probably a million pieces, a good description.
As the 767 began its final approach to Houston, air traffic controllers told the pilots there was wind and heavy rain ahead. Suddenly, at 6,000 feet, the plane dropped off radar as it went into a fast, steep nosedive, hitting the water in less than 10 seconds.
Be looking for bodies. Be looking for bodies.
Within minutes, local fishermen were searching for survivors, but they found only cardboard boxes and clothing from the cargo plane. Among the 3 crew members who died, Mesa Airlines captain Sean Archuleta, who was in a jump seat catching a ride home. The debris field isn't wide, about a half-a-mile radius, and only 1 to 4 feet deep water, which means it's very dark and brackish and muddy. Too shallow for divers. So investigators have been using acoustic listening devices, hoping to pick up the pingers from the submerged black boxes.
So far, nothing.
So far, no signs of the pingers or the black boxes.
That's correct.
But tonight, still no hard clues about why Flight 3591 crashed. Tom Costello, NBC News, Anahuac, Texas.
Tonight, President Trump is on his way to Vietnam and that second summit with North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un. Can the president make progress in convincing North Korea to give up its nuclear arsenal? Lester is in position in Vietnam with details on what to expect this week. Lester, good evening.
Savannah, good evening. President Trump in the air and Kim Jong-un on the rails. He's arriving in Vietnam by train. He boarded a heavily secured coach on Saturday, the journey taking him through China. The streets of Hanoi, meantime, are adorned with U.S. and North Korean flags, the city eager to host the 2 leaders. Their last meeting in Singapore produced, as you'll recall, a vague document committing both sides to work toward the denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. And it led to the transfer of the remains of U.S. soldiers from the Korean War. But on the central issue, intelligence officials tonight tell NBC News they are increasingly doubtful that Kim Jong-un intends to dismantle his nuclear program. President Trump has been, meantime, trying to lower expectations for this summit.
I'm not in a rush. I don't want to rush anybody. I just don't want testing. As long as there's no testing, we're happy.
The president referring to the fact North Korea has not conducted a missile test since late 2017. That said, a top goal for the U.S. is to try to get North Korea to freeze its nuclear weapons and missile program. What could the U.S. offer in exchange? One possibility is a joint statement declaring a formal end to the Korean War. Savannah, bottom line here is that despite President Trump's declaration at the end of the last summit that there is no longer a nuclear threat from North Korea, all indications are Kim Jong-un's arsenal is as lethal, if not more so, than it was back then.
All right, Lester, a lot of ground to cover there, and we will, of course, have extensive live coverage of this week's summit. Lester anchors this broadcast from Vietnam starting tomorrow night. In the meantime, here at home, the president is facing a new lawsuit. A former Trump campaign worker accusing him of kissing her without her consent. The White House has issued a denial, and tonight there are witnesses who say it never happened. NBC's Kristen Welker with the details.
In this video, you can see Trump campaign staffer Alva Johnson outside an RV after a Florida stop in August 2016.
Good job, boss.
And you can hear Johnson praising Mr. Trump on this video she shot as he starts greeting supporters. But it's what Johnson alleges happened after this video that sparked her new lawsuit.
She moved her head aside. He still managed to kiss her on the corner of her mouth.
Johnson's reaction?
In her words, she thought it was disgusting and creepy.
Johnson's lawyer says she told family members about the incident at the time. She also says 2 members of the Trump campaign witnessed it. But tonight, both of those people, Pam Bondi and Karen Giorno, say it never happened. Bondi telling NBC News, as a career prosecutor and attorney general, had I seen anything improper, I would have taken action. I was with the president in the RV, and these allegations are false. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders saying this never happened and is directly contradicted by multiple highly credible eyewitness accounts. While several women have publicly accused Mr. Trump of inappropriate behavior, Johnson is the first to allege it happened during the campaign. Her attorney says she left the campaign after the Access Hollywood tape dropped.
I just started kissing them.
But acknowledges Johnson then went to an inaugural ball and later applied for jobs in the Trump administration. And late today, revelations Johnson continued to speak glowingly of the president as recently as May 2017 in this radio interview.
He's just the nicest guy. He treats everyone as if they're a part of his family.
Alva Johnson's attorney says she said that because Johnson was worried about the non-disclosure agreement she had signed. So why wait so long to come forward? Well, her attorney says they've been working on the case for 8 months and felt now was the right time. Savannah.
All right, Kristen Walker at the White House. Thank you. And another big story in Washington with the president overseas. His former lawyer, Michael Cohen, is just hours now from starting 3 days of testimony before Congress. And everyone is wondering what exactly he will reveal. Here's NBC's Casey Hunt.
While the president's overseas, his former fixer Michael Cohen just hours away from a 3-day marathon of potentially blockbuster testimony on Capitol Hill. Democrats say one focus, that June 2016 meeting between campaign officials and a Russian attorney.
What more can he tell us about the Trump Tower New York meeting or any other issues?
While nothing is off limits to Democrats in 2 closed briefings, Russia won't be the focus in Wednesday's public hearing. But Democrats can ask Cohen about the president's campaign financing, his businesses, and his foundation. Cohen's testimony just weeks before he reports to prison.
Very simply, Michael Cohen is lying.
All of this with the Mueller report expected as soon as next week. But Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein today lowering expectations that the full report will be made public.
If we aren't prepared to prove our case beyond a reasonable doubt in court, then we have no business making allegations against American citizens.
Casey Hunt, NBC News.
Also on the Hill today, comedian Jon Stewart blasting Congress and demanding lawmakers do more to help the workers on 9/11 who still suffer from serious health issues, as well as their families. NBC's Andrea Mitchell with that story.
Jon Stewart has an urgent message for Congress. Take care of the 9/11 first responders exposed to toxic materials at Ground Zero.
This has to stop. They're not pawns. They're not people to be played with. Do the right thing and do it in a manner that respects the 18 years that they've suffered through this.
As the years pass, cancer cases and death claims are skyrocketing. 5 years after Jon Stewart took up the cause, empty chairs as the losses mounted.
Just out of curiosity, where is everybody? It's you and I.
Now compensation for victims is running out, so the government plans to cut payments by 50 to 70%. John Field, a demolition worker on the pile.
Everybody knows these cancers and these respiratory illnesses have different latency periods. I mean, come on. I mean, it's just insulting. We're sick and dying, but we're not stupid.
You've gone to 181 funerals of responders?
Yes, ma'am, and I paid for 9 of them because they couldn't afford to bury their loved ones.
Ray Pfeiffer, a firefighter who helped lead the fight, died in 2017, one of more than 200 firefighters who have died of cancers from 9/11. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington.
Breaking news out of Chicago at this hour. Music star R. Kelly was just released on bail after pleading not guilty to sex abuse charges. NBC's Ron Mott is in Chicago tonight.
Tonight, R. Kelly is a free man after spending the weekend in a Chicago jail. The singer posting a $100,000 bail after pleading not guilty to 10 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse, wearing an orange jumpsuit and surrounded by armed sheriff's deputies earlier in court. Kelly's arraignment coming as attorney Michael Avenatti says he's turned over a second video to authorities purportedly showing Kelly with an underage girl and hinting that a third video could be forthcoming.
Mr. Avenatti doesn't decide how the case is decided?
Kelly's attorney, Steve Greenberg, who has called the accusers liars, denies any criminal wrongdoing.
I have no reason to believe that there is any tape of Mr. Kelly acting inappropriately in relation to these cases or that he's done anything else wrong.
This afternoon in Los Angeles, a woman who appeared in the docuseries Surviving R. Kelly, detailing his alleged abuses, responded directly to Kelly's lawyer.
The years of him preying on young women have gone on for far too long. Robert Sylvester Kelly must be held accountable for the many lives he has ruined. And to Mr. Greenberg, it is so irresponsible to state all the women are liars. The only person lying is your client.
Ron Mott, NBC News, Chicago.
Just ahead, miracle survivors, a family of 6, all alive after a plane crashed into their home. Then the star who stunned Oscar partygoers at her first appearance since revealing a private battle. Tonight, the small plane that fell out of the sky and crashed into a Florida home. A person on board the plane was killed, but miraculously, the family inside that house all survived. Here's Miguel Almaguer.
They said it was a miracle anyone could survive.
We've had a plane crash here just south of Winter Haven Airport.
Florida rescue teams found the plane's wreckage wedged into a bedroom.
Crashed into a house.
A family of 6 was home when the twin Seabee plunged to the ground. The pilot, James Wagner, killed on impact. Student pilot, former Navy SEAL Timothy Sheehy, kicked his way out of the mangled metal and reached a teenager pinned by the plane, using his shirt to stop her bleeding.
It was a blessing today that we didn't have an entire family wiped out.
All 6 inside the home survived, the left engine reportedly failing on takeoff, but not the instincts of this veteran who jumped in to help after falling from the sky. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News.
Coming up, standing tall, the Oscar moment that moved so many. One of the most powerful moments at last night's Oscars didn't happen on the stage. NBC's Morgan Chesky now with one star's triumphant return.
On Hollywood's biggest night, when all eyes were on the stars, one actress stood out for taking a private fight public. Selma Blair, visibly emotional at Vanity Fair's Oscar party, facing cameras for the first time since being diagnosed with MS, proudly showing off her only accessory, a customized cane. Blair broke the news back in October, sharing how the disease is taking over her body, writing, "I fall sometimes, I drop things, my memory is foggy, but we are doing it." Keeping her sense of humor with the hashtag, #YesYouCane.
I can be sexy.
Blair's career took off with 1999's Cruel Intentions. Now her Netflix show Another Life is giving her a chance to keep acting as she takes her battle public against an illness with no cure.
It took so much.
Stealing the show on awards night, not with a statue or speech, but by simply standing strong. Morgan Chesky, NBC News.
She's amazing. We're back with more right after this. Finally, on this Monday, a reminder we will have special live coverage of that second summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. I'll have a lot more tomorrow morning on Today. And Lester anchors this broadcast from Vietnam starting tomorrow night. For now, that's Nightly News. I'm Savannah Guthrie. For all of us here at NBC, thank you for watching and have a great night.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here. And click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.